Hey, Will King here, and today on the Build Show, we're coming to you from the Tennessee River right here in Town Creek, Alabama, on the beautiful Wheeler Lake. Now, this is a custom home we're building. It's about a 5,000 square foot house, 2-story, but it's obviously lakefront, has beautiful views. And today I want to talk about how we attached the deck to this house. And you can see we have a nice brick veneer here behind me. So to start with, I think we should talk about the challenges of attaching decks to brick houses. You know, obviously you have a water problem, or you can have a water problem anytime you attach a deck to a house, but you can also have a structural issue too. You know, and I've seen some houses built before, and unfortunately they don't plan for it, and then they just put their ledger board over the brick veneer. And so when they go to attach it with a fastener, you can imagine what happens, but that air gap behind the brick can or it will, it's not if, it will, it'll give. You'll have crackage in the brick, and ultimately you don't have a solid connection, and it's a dumpster fire. So what we've done in the past is several different approaches. One of them that I like is that you can take your all thread or anchor bolts and run it out and put blocks over them, okay, to bring it out, to basically close that void space up. And then of course you can flash it in, and then after the brick's on, they brick around that all thread and over the top of that block that you installed. They might have to cut the back of the brick, but then when you attach your ledger and you anchor it down or you tighten it up, it doesn't give the brick anywhere to move. So that's the way that I've done it in the past. But there's a new product that I have used on this project, and I thought it was worthy of making a really nice video. So it's made by Metwood. It's called an MTW deck bracket, but it's fascinating. So it basically attaches to the house first before you put your brick up. And of course, this is floor trusses, and so on the inside, we added a bunch of blocking to have a nice structural connection for that bracket to screw to. But it's a standoff bracket, and if you notice behind me, there's actually a gap that you can see. It's about an inch and a half between the ledger and the brick. So these brackets are going to attach to the house, and they're going to basically hold off the ledger board. So attach the bracket. You know, you use the fasteners they recommend and the pattern, of course. You flash it in just like you would any other flashing boot, and you put your zip tape around it or whatever system you're using. You can then just attach that ledger board to it, again, using the prescribed fasteners for that. And then from there, you're off to the races building your deck like normal. So one thing I'll point out, as a builder, you should really be paying attention to brick details on a house. So when you receive a set of plans, now, this is assuming that maybe they don't have a structural engineer involved, or maybe not a full set of architectural drawings. And I feel like most homes in America are built without either one of those things, unfortunately. But if you see brick above decks or brick above roofs, red flags should be going off, and you really need to pay attention to those details, because that's a huge weight load that you have to make sure is accounted for. So, you know, if obviously if brick's coming off the footer all the way up, it's carrying its weight down to that footer. But the second you try to put a ledger in here or a roof line in here, and then you have brick above it, like, that's a problem, or it could be a problem if you don't catch that early on in construction. So that's why we use brackets like this, and we plan for that, to get them here, to have those mounted, the brick around them, and then that way we don't have any issues. But I've seen plans where there's been a ton of brick over roof lines, and we have to talk through those things. Like, you're either going to have a lot of structural steel involved, which is going to add a whole lot more expense to carry the load of that, or you work with the draftsman, the architect, and the homeowner to perhaps just change that to something like a siding where you don't have the load of brick. But that's just a side note for this video, but I think that's something that we really should be paying attention to. And I know over the years, I've really paid more and more attention to that when I see a set of plans come across my desk. But, you know, but back to these brackets, it's a really good, it's pretty cost effective too. I think these are around $65, give or take, per bracket. And so depending on where they are on the house, you may not need them for every area of a deck. So like this specific one that we're standing on, our joists are terminating to this wall. And so you have those brackets catching that ledger board here, but there's an area here behind me is actually siding. And so the ledger boards, they got a brick skirt coming up, then the ledger board, and then we transition to siding. So just pay attention to your plans when you're ordering these so you can make sure you get enough and put them in the appropriate areas. So I hope this video answered some questions for some of you out there. I know when I was looking for solutions, I couldn't find just an easy video explaining the process, so I thought we'd put this out there for you. But anyway, I hope you learned a little bit about it. And just remember, if you're not following us on Instagram, please do so. It's @WillKingBuilds. And remember, iron sharpens iron. So keep grinding, keep watching these videos, and we'll see you right here on The Build Show.